Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys all once again for tuning in. Not gonna lie, I do have the camera here today, but I was just a little bit lazy and didn't really feel like connecting it this morning. So we're still rocking and rolling with just a screen share. Right on. Yep, we will touch on BYND. I might do another video later on BYND that gives a little bit more information for those that are kind of confused on what might be going on. But yeah, BYND not looking so hot after their earnings report yesterday, in which they basically came out and said, that they're going to be doing a public offering of just over 3 million shares, and they're going to waive the lockup period so that some insiders can start selling shares, basically. So again, not really good for old BYND. Okay. With that being said, let's get into it. So first one on the day that I'm most concerned with watching is not BYND. I really could care less what happens to that stock personally. So first main one that I'm going to watch is going to be Roku. So Roku had an interestingly big down day yesterday, and that's really the only reason I want to watch it today. Well, there's a couple other reasons, but primarily because of yesterday's big dropping day. So today, going to be following Roku short bias on the day. It sold off from 112 down to 102, 103 yesterday. So about a 10-point move, 9 points down. Big move down. Anyways, previous day, I was actually short swing trading Roku here the previous day, and then it got taken out as we spiked up the next day, and then of course it dropped out this day. So still following Roku short bias on today. I like this big down dropping day. That's very aggressive, and because of that, I'm going to look for Roku to roll over and continue to sell off into today, targeting at least $100. I would like to see it below 100, maybe even down towards 97 or something would be cool. So Roku's first on watch, right? We had our parabolic squeeze where anybody who was short right here got squeezed up, and now the true shorts are coming in, I think. So right, this was being too early to the short, and then you get squeezed, and this is the actual top that you're seeing on Roku. So going to be looking to get short on Roku today. I think we have a nice move coming on that. Okay. Yeah, Overstock is something that I have been keeping an eye on. It just initially I was considering a short on it, and then one day I was short on it. I actually bought options. I think it was like this day, or maybe it was this day. I think it was this day. Yeah, I bought options, was up like $1,000, and it popped back up, and I was break even. And I kind of realized in consolidation, ended up taking it off. But anyways, yeah, this has been on a nice run. The problem with OSTK is that it's already moved, right? This was the start of the move here. So if you think about the start of the move to where you're at now, you're more of a high risk buy than you are, low risk buy. So, in most oftentimes you could get away shorting here at 23.50 and probably win, but this daily chart just looks way too bullish and way too strong to want to short against this move right now. So I'm a little hesitant towards wanting to be short on Overstock at this 23.50. More oftentimes than not in this situation I would be, but something about this stock is just too bullish for me to want to short into that move. But I do think that Overstock is worth keeping on watch today for a move over 23. I think there could be this additional push on Overstock over 23. So it is something that I'm probably going to keep on a side watch, but be mindful of where the price action's at so you're not buying the top, right? So what's the entry on Roku? It all depends, right? Because you never know exactly how a stock is going to move and how it's going to form intraday, right? But what we do know is significant levels from yesterday are all going to be the 102.86 down to 102.07, right? Those are significant levels where we would want to see break, right? If we zoom out a bit, Another significant level is going to be down here at 101.85. Pretty much this zone from 101.85 down to 100, basically 100, right? You have yesterday's low a day, and you have these previous lows that got bought up. So if Roku does move down towards those levels, you're probably going to see some buyers come in and kind of bounce the stock around those levels. In terms of entry, for me, entry is going to, ideally be below the lows of yesterday, right? As it comes down, depending on how it looks, how it's trading at these levels, that's where I'll probably end up getting short, is somewhere down here in 102.70. If it pops back up, then it kind of wedges out. The entry could be higher, just all depends, right? If it's a straight shot and starts breaking through, then yeah, I'll probably jump in on the panic short. If it, jumps down here, bounces up, then it forms a wedge. It all depends on where the wedge is going to break, right? UA or Under Armour today, they did report earnings. That is going to be something that's on like a side watch, just because so far it didn't really have much pre-market formation that I was truly liking. So, yep, Under Armour reports earnings. Not the greatest earnings report. I think they had weak guidance. Therefore, we're going to be following Under Armour short bias on the day. Okay. BYND. Why not? So BYND moving a little bit lower here pre-market. Long story short, this stock wasn't going to be going anywhere. Based on their initial reports, this stock was going to stay in the range of 210 to 233, and then there came more news that they were going to do a public offering of 3 million shares, and the stock started to tank, and then some more bad news and more bad news. And so today you should probably be short bias on BYND, anticipating that the sell-off will continue. If it has a really aggressive down day, you could expect you're going to see prices of BYND down towards 170, even towards 177. Again, that's if it has a pretty bearish day, but that's where I would be targeting. If I was the true bear on the day, that's where I would be targeting. Am I going to short BYND today? Probably not. The only way to short it would be through buying options. Option prices and premiums are extremely overpriced right now. Therefore, I will not buy any options on BYND for the current moment in time. And generally speaking, whenever a stock is hard to borrow, that usually, well, again, this is kind of a recent IPO, but whenever a stock is hard to borrow, it usually means it's a good stock to be shorting. Just know that's kind of like a little hint, a little indicator that this is a good stock to be shorting because it's hard to borrow. If it were easy to borrow, then it would be a stock that is most likely not a good stock to short, right? Because they will make Apple and Amazon and Facebook easy to borrow stocks because they're very reputable stocks and they've been around for a long time and they have good financials, and the likelihood that they just go to zero tomorrow is probably not going to happen. So they will make this stock easy to borrow. But a stock like BYND, again, was a recent IPO. Most recent IPOs don't have shares of short for quite some time. But when a stock is absolutely terrible and dog shit, they generally are hard to borrow, and that's a good sign that that stock is not good, and it's actually a good stock to be shorting. And then the way that you're going to have to get shares to short is if you go through a more interactive broker that has shares to short, but they're going to charge you for those shares to short. So it's just a game in which the brokers play with you to get you to spend more money. We could go on and on and on about that, but we don't have time for that. Tesla, AMD. Tesla's off a bounce. I'm not really crazy about Tesla right now since it's just kind of, yeah, to me, Tesla's just like, meh, nothing too crazy there. AMD reports earnings after hours today, so not going to be trading AMD today. Yeah, that's the thing is we kind of started a bounce yesterday on Tesla. For me, if I want to trade Tesla, it's got to be somewhere down here at like 230, even the 260s, or sorry, 226. There's nothing about Tesla that really makes me want to buy it right now. So for me, I'm just on standby right now with Tesla. And if I look at the daily chart, I don't even really like where it bounced. I mean, it's not a bad bounce area. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's really where it should have, right in this previous structure. I guess I was targeting a little bit lower, maybe down towards like 207. But yeah, it's starting to bounce, kind of starting to fill its gap. And that's generally just basically it, right? It's already rolling over here. So really the next good long break play is going to be over 236. If Tesla gets over 236, that's where you have your additional leg up for a nice long day. Yeah, Ben, I think we just covered that. Yeah, you can buy options. Yeah, of course you could buy options on a stock that's hard to borrow, but again, if the stock that you're trying to short doesn't have a lot of options activity, then you're going to be trading options on a low volume stock, which generally isn't good. And if they don't have shares to short, like on BYND, that's extremely overpriced, and we all know it's a bubble and it's going to crash, and the CBOE market's going to jack up the premiums on all options and make you pay an arm and a leg for the options, which again isn't any good. So then we stay away from trading that. So yeah, you can trade options. Thoughts on Apple? Again, Apple's same as AMD. Apple reports earnings after hours a day. I generally don't trade any earnings reports or any stock that reports earnings the day of or in after hours. They generally trade kind of funky on the day, so I just stay away from them. So won't be trading Apple, won't be trading AMD today. Yeah, Ben, good. Nice stuff. Yeah, you should be making pretty good money then today. Hopefully BYND just crashes out early in the morning and they don't squeeze up the stock and fake out some traders today. That would be a pain. No. Yeah, level 2 and time and sales doesn't really. No, it's not going to really give you. No, it doesn't give you better support or better resistance. Not at all. Because level 2 has nothing. Level 2 and arguably even time and sales have nothing to do with resistance at all. Yeah, level 2 and time and sales have nothing to do with resistance or support, right? Support on a stock is just identified by a price level in which people would like to buy the stock, and the more people that want to buy the stock at that price is going to create this stronger resistance. Level 2 and time and sales does not dictate how many people want to be buying at those levels. Level 2 level 2 just helps to show incoming order flow, which can also be manipulated very easily. And then time and sales is just your receipt or your timestamp of the actual purchases that did go through. But yeah, generally time and sales and level 2, they're not going to really dictate much or change the game a big amount for you in terms of identifying support or resistances. OSTK running into resistance right at about $23. Stock does look very bullish. I would be hesitant towards shorting into 23 here on this first day. First day here, I'd probably let it try and break over 23, see if it could continue to run. If it breaks over 23 today and then fails, comes back below 23 and closes below 23, starts to struggle, that's where I would consider maybe taking a short on OSTK. But again, OSTK doesn't have shares of short on TD Ameritrade. It is hard to borrow, so if you're going to short that, then you're going to have to go with options. Do I short sell stocks? Yeah, I short sell stocks almost every single day. TBLT, I could make a nice multi-day breakout. Possibly. I've traded TBLT before. 42 cents, gross, no, there's nothing there that I enjoy. Like, yeah, nothing there that I would see that looks real good. BYND long, no, I probably wouldn't be long BYND. I mean, you could, it's possible, right? The only thing that's going to be long today on BYND is going to be a short squeeze. So if there's a short squeeze, then yes, BYND is a long. Outside of a short squeeze, BYND is not a long. So the only long play today is the chance there can be a short squeeze. Without a short squeeze, BYND is not a long today. CHGG, I didn't even know they reported, but yeah, CHGG spikes up on earnings, comes all the way back down. Really low volume right now. I mean, it's worth watching. I don't doubt it, but yeah, pretty low volume here. Not much to go off of. Grub, I thought already reported earnings. I could be wrong, though. No, they didn't. They just had a move up yesterday was all. Yeah. Thoughts on Grub? Right now, low volume. I generally don't trade Grub, and if you look at Grub, I mean, look at the days that it puts in. It's really not what it has been doing. It hasn't been all that great. I like this curl, the fact that it's up and over the 200 moving average. So it really depends on how this earnings plays out. If this can hold over this 200 moving average, then this would be a decent long play. But if it starts to break back below that, which it already looks like it probably did based on this move pre-market, I'd be less hesitant to longing that. Again, but I'm not, nothing really there that I'm crazy about. So Taluri, so again, when you say what are short squeeze levels to observe, they change. There's not a specific level. Basically, how do we put? So that's another thing is everybody always like, well, what's the level? What's this level? What's that? It generally the level changes and it can happen at any point, right? So your level could be on BYND today. Let's go look at BYND. Your short squeeze level could be, well, a short squeeze level is going to be over 194.25. A short squeeze level could be down here at 170, at 180. A short squeeze level is right here at 234.60. A short squeeze level is right here at 203.91. So it's not about knowing what, I mean, comes down to about knowing what level, but it's like if you don't know that people are shorting a stock, then you won't even know that a short squeeze can happen. So you first have to know that people are shorting a stock. How do you know that people are shorting a stock? Well, if you look at something like BYND that's up like 900% this year, you already know people are shorting that stock. If a stock just went from $1 all the way to $20, then you know people are going to be shorting that stock. Right? You could also look at things like short float to understand how much of the float has been shorted. That might be a little bit above your learning curve right now, but that's okay. So again, right, and a short squeeze could happen midday right here at 189.72 where there's no level, but it forms into a wedge and fakes the short sellers out and they get squeezed. So really, first, you got to understand people are shorting a stock. Then you have to understand why or where somebody would want to cover. So you have to at least getting good at understanding when short squeezes are going to happen are when you actually start shorting stocks. Because when you start to short stocks, then you are the person that can get squeezed. So when you're the person that can get squeezed, you start to realize when you start to get squeezed, right? So if I get short on something and the trade's working out, then all of a sudden I get squeezed. I've experienced getting squeezed and why I got squeezed. So now the next time when I'm watching a stock going down or doing something and I'm going, hey, I think this is going to squeeze because I was in that situation before when I was shorting and I got squeezed. This looks like that same situation. I'm going to get long and I'm going to try and force the short sellers to cover their positions, causing a spike in the stock. And when it spikes, I'm going to sell. Right? So when you play both sides of the game, you get really good at the game. Again, same scenario I always use. Try to go play tennis and put up a good match against somebody who plays both forehand and backhand while you only play forehand. You will most likely lose, or it'll be far more challenging. Try to go play the game basketball without dribbling. Try and be an all-around great basketball player when you can't do a layup. Okay? You want to be able to be diverse in your trading and be able to adapt to different markets. So you want to be able to short and you want to be able to be long, right? And by being a long bias trader and a short bias trader, given the situation and when the time is right, you'll become really good at understanding when things are going to panic and break down or when things are going to panic and squeeze up. So the best advice I could give to you is start to short stocks and you'll learn how those squeezes happen. Sometimes I trade pre-market. More often than not, I will just trade when the market opens. Yeah, patience a technical analysis, understanding of psychology, understanding how candlesticks work, understanding how indicators work, understanding how market makers work, understanding how level 2 and time and sales work, understanding news-driven sources. It all plays a different effect and a different role in your trading, absolutely. Could you be a good trader based off of just buying support and resistance? Absolutely. So yeah, the more things that you can combine and understand yourself will develop you into a better trader, without a doubt. So let me take a look. You said CNI doesn't. CNI probably does. Yeah, so again, right, you're saying why doesn't, there's the after hours action on CNI right there. Those 3 candles, okay? So what you have to remember is this is when the market is open and this is when the market is closed. So again, what you have to understand is what's going on when the market's open. If people can trade in after hours and they can trade in what's called open market or when the market's open, then what's the real difference, right? Does anybody even know, like, kind of, what's the difference between after hours and pre-market? If you can buy stock, then is it really even different? During open market hours, right, there's more that goes into it, but the big thing here is that you're able to put through market orders. Generally, during the open market, the market makers are providing liquidity to the market. In after hours trading, in theory, the market makers aren't providing liquidity to the market. So unless somebody wants to buy shares after hours or pre-market at whatever price, then there'll be no pre-market or after hours action. The only time you see action after hours or pre-market is when people are trading after hours and pre-market. Without people trading after hours and pre-market, then you're not going to get any action. You can see 1, 2, 3. There was a purchase of 56,000 shares. Here was a purchase of 3,800, and here was a purchase of 32,000. So there was 3 candles of after hours action right there. Okay, so that's generally it. Like yesterday, if I came in and I bought 100 shares at 96.21, it would show one of these little dash marks up here at 96.21 because Connor came in and purchased shares there. So wherever you purchase or however many shares you purchase at whatever price, a candle will be there to represent that purchase, right? So then when you come over and you look at something like BYND, why did BYND move after hours? Because there was a lot of action. A lot of people were trading and making purchases after hours, thus the move. So if you don't see any pre-market or after hours action, it just simply means that there was no pre-market or after hours action because there was no transactions that were taking place. Yes, I use the volume weighted average price for trades. So Mr. Alam, so when you say $300 billion are gone from share buybacks, what do you mean by that? As in, you're saying they stole over $300 billion using share buybacks? Please, would you elaborate on that? Not to start an argument or anything, but yeah, I mean, if you'd like to elaborate, that'd be cool. How do you display the total volume in the volume study? The volume study, there's nothing to it. It's just, yeah, there's really nothing there. If you're talking about the volume down here, I mean, that's the way it's displayed. It's not displayed any other way there. Because, again, Mr. Alam, if you're talking about doing share buybacks, then generally speaking, when a company starts to buy back shares, it's going to increase the value of the stock, which then increases the value of the current shareholders' positions. The shareholders could range from your top executives in the company to your janitor who works for some middle school in Indiana who has shares within that company. So a share buyback program actually does help a lot of people involved within that investment. And then secondly, the money can't be stolen if it's already owned. The money would have to come from somebody else and physically be taken in order for it to be stolen, right? It would have to forcefully be removed from somebody else's pockets without their consent or, wanting to do so, and then it would be stolen. So that's very similar to federal tax and income tax. That's forcefully taken from you without you wanting to do it. That's actually stealing. But a company doing share buybacks would not be stealing money. It'd actually be providing value back to the investors within that company. One second, guys. Reading a couple things here. Got about a minute left. Are you looking for a short cover pressure play on BYND for shorting it? Lehan. Yeah, I could be looking for a short cover today. It all depends. Short cover is probably going to set up at some point. There will be a short squeeze. Can you look at pays and Tesla? No time to look at pays and Tesla right now. I got to get offline here in a second. Do stops get triggered? Yep, stops do get triggered in after hours, but it's called a stop limit. It's not just a stop loss. It'll be a stop limit. And it only gets triggered if you have the right execution for the order, which is GTC EXT. Basically, the format of your order has to change in order for it to be activated in after hours trading if you're using Thinkorswim. How much does market cap play into stocks? Our best long plays. Market cap does not play a role in dictating best long plays. Market cap is just there to tell you the valuation or the market cap of a company that you are involved with. Maybe here, how are you able to see or move past the pre-market area? It's called expansion area, Mr. Seymourge, for you're talking about seeing past after hours. That's called expansion area on Thinkorswim. Basically, go up to the gear icon in the blue bar of any one of your charts, and then you're going to go to appearance, and then you're going to go to expansion area. You can change it to 10, 50, or 100 bars, and that will give you the additional space to the right of your chart. How long you been trading? Honestly, it's about 6 years now. Trading probably about 6 years, coming on to 6, maybe even past 6, depending on how you calculate, but about 6 years. Yeah, exactly, Dan. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I know exactly what he's talking about. So it can't be stealing, right? Because that money was already the corporation's in the beginning. The only person that's actually doing stealing would be your federal government. That's the only people that's stealing money right now. And then that's the other thing, right? You can't get mad at companies and corporations for abiding by the law. That's all they're doing. They're abiding by the law, and people are getting mad at them. Right, so you see a lot of times in the news, people are getting aggravated with Amazon. Amazon didn't pay X amount of dollars in tax. Actually, they did pay a lot of tax, right? And you can't get mad at them for avoiding $10 billion in tax or something like that because they're just abiding by the law. All they're doing is abiding by the law, right? So if you're not happy with the law, who do you talk to? You go to your government, right? It's your government is the one to blame for that problem. It's not Amazon, right? Amazon would not avoid $10 billion in taxes if the option wasn't there, right? So they're just abiding by the law, and it should be props to them, right? And Amazon does pay taxes. If you think about it, think about how many employees they have and all those people that pay income tax. Without Amazon, you wouldn't have all the income tax from all the employees in the first place, too. So there's a lot that goes on there. All right, guys, I got to get back to our private group. I do appreciate it. with that being said, I'll see you guys all tomorrow morning for another day. Everybody take care and have a good day.